All right, chaps, this is Origins of Phrases, Salmonella Academy. Let's go. Hey, kids.
Hey kids, you know what's cool? Entomology. Emetology. Etymology. There we go. Today we're going to talk about some words, some combinations thereof, and where they come from. First is the phrase white elephant.
White elephant.
Now, for those out of the loop, a white elephant is a possession which its owner cannot dispose of and whose cost, particularly that of maintenance, is out of proportion to its usefulness, and also a game played during the holidays.
Yeah, that's the only version I know. So we got NWA album Moon Shoes, Kermit, a bra. Is that dog food?
For people who prefer random garbage over actual personalized presents. According to legend, this saying dates back to the monarchs of Siam. Whenever one of the king's courtiers drew his displeasure through whatever means, he would offer them a gift of a white elephant. It was considered the ultimate insult to refuse a gift from the king, so naturally the elephantee would be forced to accept. Now, if you know elephants as well as I do, you would know that they are frickin' gigantic. They can consume around 50 gallons of water
God, these.
and 500 pounds of foliage every day, which would be quite expensive to keep up in modern times, let alone hundreds of years ago. Plus, these ones are albino, so you have to hose them down with SPF 30 once an hour or else they'll turn into one big tumor.
Such a yes. It's a chore, not a gift.
Okay, not really, but they definitely needed their shade. Also, Southeast Asian cultures considered white elephants sacred, so you weren't allowed to make the animal work, and you'd have to hire a load of people to care for it on a daily basis. Basically, the person getting the gift would have to choose between financial ruin or letting it die and being socially ostracized and possibly even killed. I thought this whole thing was pretty clever, so I've started doing my own version. Whenever someone gets on my nerves, I spray paint progressive comments all over their house. That way, they'll have to spend the whole day angrily scrubbing it off, and then the neighbors will be like, "Wait, does that mean he likes the N-word?" Bigoted scum. Next is balls to the wall. This one harkens back to the days when planes flew in the air.
Oh, I get it. Like the joystick.
The throttle of many aircrafts would be controlled with either a lever or a plunger, either of which were often topped with a sphere for easy handling. Thus, when you wanted to throw the plane into max thrust, you'd put the balls to the wall. In a similar vein, the phrase balls deep comes from pinball machines. When you want to launch the ball full force, you pull the plunger all the way back, otherwise known as going balls deep. Nah, just kidding. That one actually means what you think it does. Next is getting your goat, a phrase used when someone or something annoys you. The origin of this phrase is still disputed by
I've never heard of such phrase. Have you?
etymologists, but one theory traces back to the sport of horse racing. In order to stop horses from getting nervous before a race, their owners would stick a goat in the stables to keep them calm. Apparently the
It's like a friend. They have a little friend to look at. I mean, I guess it takes their mind off of it. That's probably what it does. It distracts them.
presence of a goat has some kind of therapeutic effect on horses, kind of like a therapy dog, except they can't pet it on account of hooves, so they just sniff it for a while, I guess. Cut to a pack of young hooligans looking for something to do besides bootlegging and getting polio. They decide to break into the stables at night and escort the goat to an undisclosed location. Then when the race starts, instead of running straight ahead like a normal person, the horse would run into the crowd and dropkick a grandma or whatever, and the old crotchety oil tycoon who owns the horse would stand up, shaking his cane, yelling, "Those punks really get my goat." Thanks to modern medicine, anxious horses today can instead be given horsey Xanax to calm them down, which unfortunately means that the days of hot-blooded goat getting are over. However, some would argue that stealing horse tranquilizers can be equally rewarding in its own way.
Yeah, don't do that.
But enough of that mumbo jumbo. Hey, speaking of which, you ever wonder where mumbo jumbo comes from?
No, I don't. But let's hear it.
Nice segue, Sam. Thanks, Sam. Anyway, strap in, kids. This one's gonna be good. Mumbo Jumbo originates from the Mandingo people of West Africa. The Mandingos were a polygamous culture, and whenever a domestic quarrel broke out, they would soon hear animalistic screaming coming from the woods. They look over, and out runs this guy, known as Mumbo Jumbo. Now, Mumbo Jumbo's arrival was considered a big deal to the Mandingo. The whole tribe would sing and dance in the town center until
So it's a character?
midnight, at which point Mr. Jumbo would settle the dispute. And by settle the dispute, I mean tie the female to a post and slap her upside the head with a stick for an hour, while the rest of the village watched, all hootin' and a-hollerin'. And then he'd run screaming back into the woods, where he would remain until the next complaint arose.
So he's an arbiter of conflict?
What the Mandingo women didn't know is that Mumbo Jumbo is not, in fact, a wild patriarchal deity from the forest, but merely the offending woman's husband or one of his friends wearing a costume made from tree bark and leaves. Anyway, the guy would be babbling nonsense the whole time, which is where the phrase Mumbo Jumbo is derived from.
Ah, it's so crazy.
So next time one of your superiors uses the words Mumbo Jumbo
Get a stick and start beating them. Yeah.
in a jocular fashion, remember to report them to HR for promoting African wife beating. Anyway, that's all for today. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
Oh, short and sweet. Oh my goodness. So let's go over these one more time. So mumbo jumbo, pretty simple. Some African folklore that probably happened and probably created some interesting times. Getting your goat is so cool to have like a little friend in your little stallion. You are a stallion in your stable prior to going out for a race. So that's interesting. Balls to the wall. That makes sense with the joystick. You know, going full throttle. And then white elephant's got to be the funniest one. Like, God, can you imagine getting a white elephant and having to just refuse the gift? Just refuse the gift next time. Well, that's all we got today. Leave me some video suggestions down below. Peace out and bye-bye.